First contact surprise. The Terman research vessel Horizon cuts silently through the void, its sophisticated sensors probing the depths of space. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the unusual readings that had drawn them to this remote sector of space. The ship's quantum detection array had picked up something unprecedented, ripples in space-time that shouldn't exist according to known physics. "Dr. Marcus, what do you make of these readings?" She called out to her chief scientist, who hadn't left his station for the past 12 hours. James Marcus ran his fingers through his graying hair, his weathered face illuminated by holographic displays. "Captain, these distortions, they're artificial. Someone's out there manipulating space-time itself." The bridge crew fell silent. After centuries of searching the stars, humanity might finally have proof they weren't alone. But before anyone could speak, the ship's emergency systems activated. Red warning lights bathed the bridge in a crimson glow. Massive object emerging from subspace. Lieutenant Rodriguez announced from tactical, her fingers dancing across the controls. It's bigger than anything we've ever encountered." A vessel materialized before them, dwarfing the horizon. Its hull seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly iridescence, defying human engineering principles. As the crew watched in amazement, a transmission cut through their communications. "Attention, human vessel." A melodious voice echoed through the bridge, speaking perfect English. "We are the collective of advanced species. Your presence in this sector was unexpected." Captain Chen straightened her uniform. This was the moment humanity had prepared for. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Horizon. We come in peace and friendship." There was a pause before the alien voice returned, this time with an edge of concern. "Your vessel's life support readings are impossible. You maintain atmospheric pressure at nearly twice galactic standard. Your artificial gravity is set to levels that would crush most sentient species." Chen exchanged confused looks with her crew. "These are Earth normal conditions," she replied. Another pause, longer this time. "Request permission to send a delegation to your vessel. We must verify these readings." Within the hour, the Horizon's airlock cycled open to reveal their first alien visitors. The crew's excitement turned to surprise as 3 tall, willowy beings entered, moving with careful, deliberate steps. Their silvery environment suits seemed unnecessarily bulky. Dr. Marcus scanned them with his handheld analyzer. "Captain," he whispered, "they're struggling with our gravity. Their musculature and bone density suggest evolution in a much lower gravity environment." The alien leader, who introduced themselves as Ambassador Vex, confirmed this observation. "Your species evolved under extraordinary conditions. The pressure, the gravity, the atmospheric composition. By galactic standards, Earth would be classified as a death world." "A death world?" Chen asked, watching as the aliens moved with visible effort. "A planet whose conditions are lethal to most forms of life," Vex explained. "Yet you thrive there. Your bodies are dense with muscle and bone that would be considered extreme adaptations. Your respiratory system filters toxins that would kill most species. Your immune system is remarkably aggressive." The implications slowly dawned on the human crew. They weren't physically inferior to their first alien contact. They were significantly stronger. "There's more," Vex continued, their translator conveying a mix of awe and concern. "Your species achieved spaceflight mere centuries after discovering electricity. You mastered atomic energy despite its dangers. You survived multiple near-extinction events and emerged stronger. The collective has been watching Earth, debating when to make contact. Some advocated for permanent quarantine." "Quarantine? Why?" Dr. Marcus asked. "Because you're something unprecedented, a species that evolved on a world that breeds strength, resilience, and aggressive adaptation. Your technological progress is exponential where others advance linearly. You are warriors who think you're explorers, predators who believe themselves to be peaceful." Captain Chen processed this information, suddenly understanding humanity's place in the cosmos from a new perspective. "What happens now?" "Now," Vex replied, "We must prepare the galaxy for humanity's emergence. Your species will change everything. You are not what we expected to find in this sector. You are something far more significant." As the aliens departed, leaving behind a quantum communications device for future contact, the crew of the Horizon gathered in the mess hall. They had thought first contact would reveal humanity's technological inferiority. Instead, they had discovered that evolution on Earth had crafted them into something unprecedented, beings of extraordinary capability by galactic standards. "Send all data to Earth Command," Chen ordered, "and add a personal note. We're not behind the rest of the galaxy. We're just getting started." As the Horizon began its journey home, carrying news that would forever change human history, Chen couldn't help but smile at the irony. Humanity had looked to the stars hoping to find gods, and had instead discovered they were the ones to be feared. The galaxy was about to learn what it meant to deal with a species forged in the crucible of Earth, and nothing would ever be the same. Trial by combat. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council stretched impossibly high, its crystalline walls reflecting the light of 3 suns. Earth's delegation stood before the assembled representatives of over 500 spacefaring civilizations, trying not to show their awe. Commander Michael Santos, chosen to represent Earth's military interests, studied the alien faces surrounding them. Some beautiful, some terrifying, all watching humanity with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. High Counselor Zixtal, a being composed of shifting crystalline formations, addressed the assembly. "The inclusion of a Death World species into the Council is unprecedented. The humans have not undergone the traditional centuries of observation and gradual integration." Dr. Elena Torres, Earth's chief xenanthropologist, stepped forward. "With respect, High Counselor, we've already proven our civilization's stability and peaceful intentions. The collective's own observations confirm this." A rumble of disagreement rippled through the chamber. A massive being, covered in iridescent scales, rose from the delegation of the Krex Empire. "Peaceful. Your species still maintains military forces. You train for combat. You practice the art of war even in times of peace. Self-defense is not aggression," Santos countered, his voice steady. "And as we've learned, the galaxy is not always a peaceful place." The Krex representative's scales flickered with colors that the humans' translators identified as a mix of amusement and contempt. "Perhaps a demonstration is in order. The ancient laws allow for trial by combat when a species' capabilities are in question." The human delegation exchanged glances. They had been briefed about this possibility, but hadn't expected it so soon. The Krex were known as one of the galaxy's premier warrior races, evolving from apex predators on their homeworld. "We accept," Santos said before anyone could object. The assembly hall transformed, its center clearing to reveal a combat arena. The Krex champion emerged, 3 meters of rippling muscle and scales, armed with energy weapons that made Earth's most advanced technology look primitive. Santos removed his formal uniform jacket, revealing the standard-issue compression suit underneath. The alien observers murmured at his seemingly inadequate preparation. "Commander," Dr. Torres whispered, "the Krex have enhanced strength and reflexes. They're designed for combat." Santos smiled slightly. "So are we, Doctor. We just don't like to advertise it." The combat began with explosive intensity. The Krex warrior moved with incredible speed, its energy weapons creating patterns of deadly light. But Santos had trained in Earth's gravity, his muscles and bones forged by a world that demanded strength. He moved with a fluid grace that seemed to defy the assembly's expectations. The Krex's first strike should have ended the fight, a blow that could shatter stone. Instead, Santos rolled with the impact, using his opponent's momentum against them. The aliens watched in growing amazement as the human not only survived, but began to press his advantage. "Impossible," someone in the assembly whispered. "He's fighting in standard gravity. No species can maintain that level of performance outside their environmental adaptations." But Santos was proving them wrong. Every movement demonstrated the difference between a species that evolved for combat and one that evolved to survive Earth's punishing conditions. When the Crex warrior began to tire, Santos' endurance, the result of an evolutionary history that required persistent hunting, kept him going. The fight ended not with a killing blow, but with a display of human ingenuity. Santos used the arena's environment, his understanding of physics, and his trained reflexes to trap his opponent in a hold that even the Crex's superior strength couldn't break. As the assembly watched in stunned silence, Santos helped his defeated opponent up, another uniquely human gesture that sent ripples of discussion through the gathered species. High Counselor Zixtal's crystalline form shimmered with what the translators interpreted as deep thought. The trial reveals more than combat prowess. It shows judgment, restraint, and innovation, qualities as important as strength. The Crex representative scales had shifted to colors indicating respect. We witnessed not just physical capability, but the application of intelligence and tactical thinking. Perhaps we have misunderstood humanity's warrior nature. Dr. Torres seized the moment. Humanity's strength isn't in our ability to fight, but in our ability to adapt, to learn, and to choose when not to use our capabilities. We evolved not to dominate, but to survive and thrive in cooperation with others. The assembly chamber filled with the various sounds and gestures of agreement from multiple species. Earth's delegation had transformed a potential diplomatic disaster into a demonstration of humanity's unique qualities. As the session concluded, Santos found himself surrounded by curious alien representatives, all eager to learn more about human training methods and capabilities. Dr. Torres watched with satisfaction as barriers of fear and suspicion began to crumble. An impressive display, Commander, High Counselor Zixtal commented privately. But I suspect you were holding back considerably. Santos smiled diplomatically. As my ancestors learned long ago, High Counselor, the strongest warrior isn't the one who wins every fight. It's the one who knows when victory doesn't require defeating an opponent. The High Counselor's crystalline form sparkled in what the translators suggested was amusement. Perhaps that wisdom, even more than your physical capabilities, is why humanity belongs among the stars. As Earth's delegation prepared to return to their quarters, news of the trial was already spreading throughout Council space. Humanity had proven themselves not just capable of surviving among the stars, but of bringing something unique to the galactic community. The question now wasn't whether they belonged, but how their presence would reshape the future of interstellar civilization. The quarantine crisis. The emergency alert echoed through the halls of the Galactic Medical Center on Station Zenith. Dr. Maya Patel rushed through the quarantine barriers, her sealed biosuit a stark contrast to the minimal protection worn by her human colleagues. On the other side of the observation window, alien medical staff watched in amazement as the human medical team worked directly with infected patients. Status report, Maya demanded, scanning the latest data on her neural interface. Dr. Jack Chen looked up from his patient, a Valerian whose crystalline skin had begun to cloud with disease. 17 new cases in the past hour. The pathogen's mutation rate is accelerating. But here's the interesting part. Human exposure shows 0 infection rate. The crisis had begun 3 days ago when a routine trade shipment introduced an unknown pathogen to one of the busiest transit hubs in the galaxy. The virus, dubbed Stellaris X by the Council, had already forced the quarantine of 12 species across 7 star systems. Its ability to adapt to different alien physiologies had the entire galactic community in panic. Dr. Patel, a melodious voice called out. Ambassador Vex, now a familiar face to humanity, approached the quarantine line. The Council requests your presence immediately. In the Council's emergency chamber, representatives from affected species gathered virtually to prevent further spread. Maya stood before them, acutely aware that humanity's reputation hung on her words. The virus appears to be a hybrid life form, she explained, projecting molecular diagrams. It adapts to each new species it encounters, incorporating genetic material to enhance its spread. But when it encounters human cells, it fails completely. Explain, demanded the Arxian representative, their hologram flickering with anxiety. Earth's biosphere is exceptionally aggressive, Maya continued. Our immune systems evolved to combat millions of pathogens. What you're seeing isn't just resistance. It's the result of surviving on a planet that's been trying to kill us since we evolved. High Counselor Zixtal's crystalline form pulsed with interest. You propose using human immunity to create a solution. Better, Maya smiled. We've already begun. Dr. Chen. Jack's hologram appeared, displaying new data. Human immune responses don't just fight the virus. They destroy it completely. We've isolated the mechanisms responsible. Using synthetic versions of human immune factors, we can create a treatment that works across species. The council chamber erupted in discussion. The Valerian speaker rose, their clouded crystalline form showing signs of infection. The ethical implications of incorporating human biological elements into other species are far less concerning than a galaxy-wide pandemic, Maya interrupted. We can modify the treatment to degrade after it eliminates the virus. No permanent changes to any species. As the council debated, more reports of spreading infection arrived. Finally, High Counselor Zixtal called for order. The council approves emergency implementation. Proceed, Dr. Patel. The next 48 hours became a blur of activity. Human medical ships, already positioned throughout council space, began distributing the treatment. Maya worked without rest, coordinating with alien medical teams and adapting the cure for different physiologies. In the Valerian Medical Bay, she watched as the first treated patients began to recover, their crystalline forms clearing. Ambassador Vex stood beside her, observing. Once again, humanity surprises us, they said. Your species' greatest strength isn't just your immunity. It's your drive to protect others using your advantages. Maya thought about Earth's long history of disease outbreaks, vaccinations, and medical breakthroughs. We learned long ago that surviving isn't enough. It's what you do with your survival that matters. A week later, the crisis was officially contained. The Council's medical directory was updated to include detailed information about human biological capabilities, marking the first time a species' medical data was classified as a strategic asset. In her quarters on Station Zenith, Maya received a private message from High Counselor Zixtal. The Council has approved the establishment of the first Human Medical Response Division. Your species' unique capabilities are now considered essential to galactic health security. As she looked out at the stars, Maya reflected on humanity's journey. They had come to space expecting to be the vulnerable ones, only to discover that their greatest challenges on Earth had forged them into something extraordinary. The galaxy now knew that humanity wasn't just physically strong or technologically capable. They were biological survivors of the highest order. Dr. Chen joined her at the window. They're calling us the healers now, he said with a slight smile. Quite a change from Death Worlders. Maybe that's the real lesson here, Maya replied. It's not about being the strongest or the most resilient. It's about using what evolution gave us to help others. As reports of successful treatments continued to flow in from across Council space, humanity's position in the galactic community shifted once again. They were no longer seen as just potential warriors or surprisingly capable primitives. They had become essential partners in the galaxy's future, their very biology, a shield protecting countless species. The quarantine crisis had revealed yet another facet of humanity's unique place in the cosmos, proving that their greatest strength wasn't in their ability to survive, but in their determination to ensure the survival of others. Warriors of Earth. Admiral Rachel Martinez stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Force flagship Thermopylae, studying the holographic display of the Carina Trade Corridor. Red markers indicated the latest pirate attacks, bold strikes that had crippled galactic commerce and left even heavily armed merchant ships vulnerable. Another convoy hit, Lieutenant Park reported, updating the display. The Meridian Group lost 3 carriers. The pirates are using some kind of new phase technology. Council defense forces can't track them. Martinez nodded grimly. The pirates, a coalition of outcasts from various species, had discovered a way to partially phase their ships out of normal spacetime. It made them nearly impossible to detect, unless you knew exactly what to look for. "They think they're invisible," Martine said, a slight smile playing on her lips. "But they forgot something important. Humans evolved as pursuit predators. We're very, very good at tracking things that don't want to be found." The Thermopylae wasn't alone. A fleet of Earth's most advanced ships had been deployed to the corridor, each crewed by humans who trained in conditions that most species considered impossible. They were about to demonstrate why Earth's military doctrine had caught the attention of the Galactic Council. "Admiral," a new voice called out. Ambassador Vex materialized on the bridge via hologram. "The Council is concerned about your deployment. The pirates' phase technology makes conventional military response impossible." "Conventional response, yes," Martinez agreed. "But we're not conventional, are we? Lieutenant Park, show them what we found." Park's fingers danced across his console, and the holographic display zoomed in on what appeared to be empty space. Then the image shifted, revealing subtle distortions in the quantum field. Distortions that matched human brain patterns' unique ability to recognize predatory movement. "The phase technology leaves traces," Martinez explained. "Traces that human pattern recognition can track. We've been hunting since before we had tools, Ambassador. Our brains evolved to notice things other species miss." The next few hours demonstrated why humanity's military capabilities had so unsettled the galactic community. The Earth fleet moved with coordinated precision, using tactics developed over centuries of warfare, but adapted to three-dimensional space combat. Each ship operated independently yet as part of a greater whole, a hunting pack using strategies that went back to humanity's prehistoric days. "Contact," Park announced. "Phase signatures detected. 5 pirate vessels approaching the Centauri merchant fleet." Martinez's orders were calm and precise. "Execute Operation Thunderbolt." The Earth fleet sprang into action. While other species relied on AI targeting systems, human gunners used their superior hand-eye coordination and intuitive grasp of physics to track the partially phased ships. The pirates found themselves facing an enemy that could not only see them but could predict their movements with uncanny accuracy. "How?" the pirate leader demanded when his ship was finally cornered. "The phase technology should have made us invisible." Martinez faced the captured pirate on the Thermopylae bridge. "You made the same mistake everyone makes. You assumed technology would overcome biology. But humans are natural hunters. We don't just see our prey. We anticipate, we track, we think like our quarry." The cleanup operation revealed something unexpected. The pirates had been using stolen biological technology, attempting to enhance their capabilities. But none of their augmentations could match what evolution had spent millions of years perfecting on Earth. In the aftermath, the Council convened an emergency session. The human fleet's success had implications beyond just securing trade routes. Ambassador Vex addressed the assembly. "The humans have demonstrated not just military prowess, but a fundamental truth we've overlooked. Their strength isn't in their technology. It's in abilities hardwired into their very beings. They don't just adapt to face threats. They anticipate them in ways our species cannot comprehend." High Counselor Zixtel's crystalline form shimmered with what the translators interpreted as deep contemplation. "Perhaps it is time to reconsider humanity's role in galactic security. Their capabilities are uniquely suited to protecting others." Admiral Martinez found herself promoted to head of the newly formed Joint Species Defense Initiative. As she looked out at the combined fleet of human and alien ships, she reflected on how far humanity had come. "We spent so long preparing to defend ourselves from advanced aliens," she mused to Lieutenant Park. "We never considered that we might end up defending advanced aliens from threats they couldn't handle." The Thermopylae crew had started training alien military personnel in human combat techniques. The sight of various species attempting to learn human martial arts and strategy would have been amusing if it wasn't so significant. It's not about being the strongest or having the best technology, Martinez explained to a group of alien officers. It's about understanding that true strength comes from our core nature, not what we build, but who we are. As the Joint Species Defense Initiative grew, humanity's reputation evolved once again. They weren't just warriors or protectors. They were teachers, sharing the skills that Earth's harsh evolution had gifted them. The galaxy was learning that human military prowess wasn't about aggression, but about the dedicated protection of others. And in the darkness between the stars, potential threats to galactic peace found themselves facing a sobering reality. They weren't just dealing with another species with advanced technology. They were facing the descendants of Earth's apex predators, beings whose very nature made them the ultimate guardians of civilization. Evolution's champions. The Grand Archive of Galactic History towered over the capital city of the Council homeworld, its crystalline spires reaching toward the twin suns. Dr. Sarah Reynolds walked its halls alongside Professor Zach Trell, the Council's leading evolutionary biologist. They were here to unlock a mystery that had puzzled the galactic community since humanity's emergence, the true story of Earth's evolutionary path. Your latest findings are disturbing, Zach Trell said, their bioluminescent patterns shifting with concern. If correct, they change everything we thought we knew about species development. Sarah nodded, bringing up a holographic display of Earth's geological and biological history. Earth wasn't just a death world, Professor. It was a crucible of evolution, constantly throwing new challenges at life itself. The display showed Earth's tumultuous history, mass extinctions, radical climate shifts, continental drift, and countless natural disasters. But instead of wiping out life completely, each catastrophe had driven evolution forward in unexpected ways. Most worlds we studied have stable conditions, Zach Trell observed. Species evolve to fill specific niches and remain relatively unchanged for millions of years. But Earth never stood still. Sarah completed the thought. Every time life adapted to one challenge, the planet presented a new one. The survivors had to be adaptable, resilient, and capable of rapid change. Their research had revealed something unprecedented. While other worlds produced specialized species perfectly adapted to specific conditions, Earth had created generalists, beings capable of surviving almost anything. Humans were the ultimate expression of this evolutionary strategy. The evidence was undeniable. Human bones were discovery-marked with countless adaptations, each telling a story of survival. Their immune systems showed signs of ancient battles with countless pathogens. Their brains bore the marks of problem-solving challenges that had forged human intelligence. Look at this, Sarah said, zooming in on human genetic data. Our DNA contains fragments from multiple hominid species. We didn't just evolve. We adapted by incorporating genetic material from our competitors. We're living proof that cooperation can be as powerful as competition. The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just another spacefaring species. They were the product of an evolutionary experiment that had never been replicated anywhere else in known space. Their very existence challenged fundamental assumptions about how life developed. Word of their findings spread quickly through the Council. Species that had once feared humanity's potential for violence now saw them differently, as being shaped by adversity into something unique in the galaxy. High Counselor Zixtal called an emergency session to address the revelations. Representatives from every member species gathered to hear the truth about their newest members. The humans, Sarah explained to the assembly, are not what we appear to be. We're not warriors who learned peace or predators who learned restraint. We're survivors who learned to thrive by adapting to anything the universe throws at us. She showed them the evidence. Human cellular structures that could survive in radiation levels lethal to most species, bones that could heal from injuries that would be fatal to others, brains that could reconfigure themselves to overcome trauma. But our greatest adaptation, she continued, wasn't physical. It was our ability to learn, to change our behavior, to pass knowledge between generations. We became teachers because we had to learn. We became protectors because we understood vulnerability. We became explorers because our world taught us to never stop adapting. Ambassador Vex, who had been humanity's first contact, rose to address the council. When we found the humans, we thought we were discovering a dangerous species that needed to be contained. Instead, we found the missing piece our civilization needed, a species that could help us all adapt to an ever-changing galaxy. The council chambers erupted in discussion as the implications became clear. Humanity's unique evolutionary history made them ideal intermediaries between species, capable of understanding and bridging vast biological and cultural differences. Sarah found herself appointed to head a new division of the council, the Department of Evolutionary Studies. Its mission was to understand how Earth's unique conditions had produced not just humanity, but an entire biosphere of extraordinary adaptability. As she worked with scientists from across the galaxy, Sarah often reflected on the irony of their situation. Humans had once looked to the stars hoping to find beings more advanced than themselves. Instead, they had discovered that their greatest advancement was the result of their planet's harshness. "We're not superior," she explained to a group of alien students. "We're different. Earth taught us that survival isn't about being the strongest or the smartest. It's about being able to change, to learn, to work together. That's humanity's gift to the galaxy." The impact of their discoveries rippled through galactic civilization. Species began studying Earth's evolutionary principles, learning how adversity could drive positive change. The term human adaptability became a standard phrase in scientific literature across the galaxy. As Sarah stood in the Grand Archive, looking at the new wing dedicated to Earth's evolutionary history, she smiled at a final irony. Humans had spent centuries wondering if they were alone in the universe, never realizing that the real question was whether the universe was ready for them. "Professor," she said to Zax Trell, "I think we finally understood why Earth created beings like us. We're not the pinnacle of evolution. We're its champions, meant to show the galaxy that life can thrive anywhere, adapt to anything, and always find a way forward." The professor's bioluminescence pulsed in what Sarah had learned to recognize as agreement. Perhaps that is humanity's true purpose in the cosmic order, not to dominate, but to demonstrate that the path of adaptation and change is the surest route to survival. As news of their findings spread across council space, humanity's role in the galaxy crystallized into something new. They were no longer seen as merely powerful allies or useful protectors. They had become living proof that the harshest conditions could produce the most remarkable results, a testament to life's endless capacity for adaptation and growth. The story of humanity's evolution became a beacon of hope across the galaxy, proving that no challenge was insurmountable, no change impossible, and no future predetermined. In the end, Earth's greatest gift to the universe wasn't its strong children, it was the lesson they carried in their very beings. That life, in all its forms, would find a way to thrive.